Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be completing the AS Information Technology Paper 2 Practical, course code 9626, March 2017 paper. We're going to be focusing today on the spreadsheet section. So we've been supplied with the following files. So we're going to be using these three files in particular to complete the spreadsheet task. Okay, so let's go down to question 14. So this is where we begin. The last fundraising event was an auction run by 3 different charities. Data was collected about this auction and stored in a number of spreadsheet files. All documents must fit on a single portrait page wide when printed on A4 paper with text at least 12 points high. So this is really important. So we are going to be printing off the formulas and values at certain points. Display all currency values in dollars with 2 decimal places. All documents must be of a professional standard and produced using the most efficient methods. So using the suitable spreadsheet software, open and examine the data in the files. So we need to open these 3 files, the auction, the bidder and the charity files. So if I go to my folder, let's open up each file. Okay, I've got some extra for some reason. So we got the auction. Let's have a look. So open up the columns and have a look at the information. Okay, so this is the auction one. Let's have a look at the bidder. Okay, so again we can open up this information, we can have a look. So we've got address details. Okay, and we've got the charities as well. Okay, in the most appropriate file, create a footer containing, so we have to use the most appropriate file. So okay, it seems here we're going to be entering some sort of function to work out the bidder name, which is going to be coming from this sheet here. So I think it seems we're going to be working on this sheet in particular, so I'm going to include my header onto this sheet. So if we go to insert, header, and I want to go to the footer, so let's see what we need to include. Create a footer containing the text, auction item winners, last edited by, so let me just copy this, followed by your name, center number and candidate number. Okay, so my name, Yasser Ahmed, center number and candidate number. To go back to the normal view, click anywhere on the sheet, go to click on view and select normal. Okay, if you go to file, print, preview, you can see the name is in the footer along the bottom. If I go to the next page, it appears on every page. Okay, so that's complete. So insert a new column after the charity column. So let's go to our sheet. So after the charity column we need to insert a new column. So if I click here and select insert. Okay, let's go back to our Excel. In cell C3, use a function to look up a charity name. Insert an appropriate label in C2. So C2 is this cell here. Okay, we need to look up the charity name, so that sounds like a suitable name to include in C2. Okay. Okay, so before I look up, we need to look at a sheet and we need to identify what data we can use to look up. So we've got some codes here. Okay, I'm going to use my common sense. If I go to the charity sheet, you can see we got the code AA in B3 and AA is here. So it's basically we're going to be using these codes as a lookup value to find the charity name. So if I go back to the first sheet here, and it's going to be a vertical lookup as we're going to be going down. So V lookup. So the lookup value is a charity code, comma, I'm going to click up here. The table array is in this external charity sheet, so if we highlight this whole table, you'll notice automatically, because it's an external sheet, the data has been absolute cell reference, so it's locked into place, comma, the column index, so basically we want to refer to the second column as that's where the charity names are stored, so 2, comma, and we want an exact match. So basically what that means, if you see AA, the charity name will be Age Assistance. So let me select exact match. Okay, and that's completed that. So I'm not sure what's happening in my graphics card. Let me just close that down. Okay, so let's go back to the question. That's that complete. So in cell, insert a formula in cell F3. Let's have a look in F3. So it's this cell here that uses the most appropriate file to look up the names of the auction winner and display it in this format, so surname and forename. So we need to put some names here, so the surname followed by the first name. So let's have a look at the external sheets. So we're not using this one anymore, so looks like we're going to be using this one because this one includes the forename and includes the surname. Okay, so if I go back to my original sheet, so what can we use up as a lookup value? So if I go back to my question paper, the name of the auction winner, so that's the clue. So if I go back to my Excel, so looks like we're going to be using these numbers as a lookup value. So if I go back to my Excel, so it's going to be these numbers here. So the numbers are between 1 to 40. Yep, so it looks like these numbers will match up. So let's start the VLOOKUP. Before I start, we need to find the surname first. Okay, so equal VLOOKUP. So we want to use the bidder number, comma, go to table array. So we highlight the lookup number and we want to go across to the surname. Let me just double check again. Yes, it's surname first, so, and you'll notice we've gone into the third column. So we can press comma, column index is number 3, comma, and we want to select exact match, which means if we see 26, the surname will be Jones. I'm going to close the bracket and press enter. So you see we've got the surname. Okay, let me just double check. 35. Yeah, we've got the correct surname. So now what we need to do is we need to include a colon and a space. And then we can, after we've done that, we can include the first name. So if I click up here, I want to press Shift and 7 to include and, speech marks, colon, space, close the speech marks, and now I want to use another VLOOKUP to look up the first name. So VLOOKUP, again we can use the same lookup value, the bidder number, comma, if we go to the table array, so it's the same one. And because this is an external sheet, you'll notice again automatically the data is being absolute cell reference. The dollar signs are automatically in place, which means the data will not be moving anywhere. Comma, in this case we're going to be referring to the second column of what we highlighted, comma, and we want an exact match. So if I close the bracket, and press enter. Okay, so just before I move forward, so bidder number was 35. If we go back to my Excel, and as you can see, it should be this one here. So I'm not sure how you pronounce this name, Chuagot or Chwagot, I'm not sure. Yeah, and you can see, so we got the surname followed by a colon and a space, which is this part here, and then another lookup looking up the first name. Okay. So replicate the functions entered in question 15 and 16 for all auction lots. So replicate just basically means for this question and this question, what we need to do is drag down a formula, so to the very end. Okay, so make sure you open up the columns to show all the data, and again drag this down. Okay, so we've got the names, we've got the charity. So again, make sure all the data is shown, nothing is cut off. Okay, and save. So when we're saving, make sure you save as an Excel workbook to store the formulas and functions which you've used. Okay. Apply appropriate formatting to the spreadsheet. So let's have a look. So it did mention currency at the top, so let's have a look. Display all currencies in dollars with 2 decimal places. So we need to format this into dollars. So we can just come up to here, and by default it goes to 2 decimal places, as you can see. Okay, so now this is the first evidence for the spreadsheet section, so I'm going to save again because it's just given me another prompt to save. So auction 1 followed by your center number underscore candidate number. So copy, I'm going to save again. So save as, make sure it's Excel workbook, auction 1 underscore center number 5678 underscore, then it's a center number. You can check if you want. Candidate, so center number and then candidate number. Yep, I've got that. Save. Okay, so your first evidence, obviously we've done 2 functions, 2 VLOOKUPs, so we want to show that in the evidence. So what I would do, I would do 2 printouts at this stage. One showing the values. So just go back to here. If I go to File and Print, fit sheet on 1 page. Okay, so if you refer back to the original question or to the top of the question, all documents must fit on a single portrait page wide when printed on A4. So it says single portrait page wide. So what we can do, if we go back to here, we can actually adjust that. So we can say 1 page. So if I go to, I'll just do that again. If I go to click here, custom scaling options, 1 page wide, we can say maybe 2 pages tall. So the data is fitting 1 page wide, however 2 pages tall. So this would be my first printout, so I would press print at this point to evidence I've got the names in place. Also, to achieve the marks for the functions, you need to show the formulas and then do a second printout. So what I will do now is, if we go back, go to formulas, show formulas. Okay. So again, it's very, very important you show the full formulas when you're printing. So as you can see, full formulas are now shown. So again, I will go to print, and if we go to custom scaling options, So 1 page wide, 2 pages tall. So, well, as you can see, it's all fitted onto one. So that's fine. What I would also do, okay, you can also evidence this into your evidence document as well. Right, so if I go to, I haven't created an evidence document, but you will have one. So let me just create an evidence document. So let me just insert a header. I'll include all my details. Center number 5678 and a candidate number 1234. Okay, so this is evidence for step. So it's evidence 5. Okay, so let me just copy evidence 5. Okay, so what we can do, we can just do 2 print screens. So to show the 2 VLOOKUPs which we used. Okay, so we want to increase the size so it's obvious what we've done. Okay, and then a second VLOOKUP. Okay, as you can see, we've got a cell header as well, so we can see we've done a VLOOKUP for the forename and also the surname, and in between we've got and a colon and space. Okay, so using the and, we can join up the 2 VLOOKUPs together. Okay, so let me press save. Let's go back to the question paper. Okay, now we're going to be moving on to question 19. So a list of all the auction winners will be created to show how much each winner has donated for each charity for the items they have won. Okay, so question 19, create a pivot table to display the amount due by each person to each charity, total amount due to for each person, and amount raised by the charity from this event. Okay, so let's do one step at a time. So let's create a pivot table first of all. So let's take the formulas off. Show all the data again. So make sure nothing's cut off, all the data is visible. Okay, so to create the pivot table, let's click on Insert, Pivot. So you'll notice the table of data has been highlighted, so that's what we want. Okay. And we want to create it into a new worksheet, so it's going to go at the bottom. So let's go back to the question again. So to display the amount due by each person, so we want the name. Okay. To each charity, so we want the charity name as well. Okay. Total amount due for each person, and the amount raised by each charity. So what we need to do, I need to move the charity name, because what we basically want the totals raised by each charity, so we want to move the charity name into column labels. Okay, and what we want to include is the cost of winning bids. So if I tick this, you'll see each person and the amount they've contributed towards that particular charity, and then a total amount at the end. So let's go back to the question. Let's see if we've achieved what we set out to do. So create a pivot table to display the amount due by each person. So we've got each person on the side in the first column. Okay. To each charity. So we've got separate values for each charity, total amount due for each person, and amount raised by each charity from this event. So I'm happy with that, so we can continue now. So this is the next evidence. So save your pivot table as auction 2, followed by your center number, candidate number. So we're going to just save this file as auction 2. So we go to file, okay, save as auction 2, followed by your center number and candidate number. Save. Okay, so before I continue, since this is the next evidence, I'm going to print this off as well. So file, print, zoom out again. Okay, and we want to make sure it fits to, everything fits to one page. So fit sheet to one page. I need to include a footer. So let me include the footer on this page as well. So insert, head and footer. Click on go to footer. I can include the same details. Let's have a look. Okay, so let me just get this information here so we can include the same information. Five, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go back to the top. So for the evidence, let's just print this off. So fit sheet to one page. As you can see, name is at the bottom. Fit sheet to one page. Everything is visible one page, and this is the next piece of evidence. Okay. So evidence 6. So I will send that to the printer. Okay. What we can also do is there's no need to put that into evidence document. Okay, so let's just continue. So now question 20. We need to extract from the pivot table only the people donated to all 3 charities with a total of more than 20,000. Okay, so we need to basically show only the people who donated to all 3 charities with a total of more than 20,000. So what we can do is, if we go back to Excel, it's basically someone like Victor. As you can see, he's donated to Age Assistance, the Hospital Trust, to the Turtle Week conversation as well. So what we can do is we can use another function to count. So equal, and since we want to count the values, the numbers, we can just use a count. So basically we're going to count the number of times we see numbers in these cells here. So the first one will give me 1, so he has only contributed towards 1 charity. But if I drag this down, you will see we've got 3s for those people who have contributed to each of the charities. So I'm just going to include just a title up here. Okay. So it says to show evidence. So the first thing I'm going to do is show the count function I've used. Okay. So I'm going to place this into my evidence document. So it was question 20. Okay. I'm just going to crop and show the relevant data. Okay, so I've done that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is do a filter So to only find the people who donated to all 3 charities, we have to filter for 3. So I'm just going to press enter, or let's take the formulas off. Highlight the whole row, go to home, and let's go to filter. So we click down and count, and we only want to show those people who have contributed to all 3 charities. So I'm going to print screen this. So this is the next print screen. So just to show I've done a count, okay, and filter. Okay. What we can do is, if we go back here, or go back to the Excel, you know, we want to be very specific in the evidence, and we want to show, yep, we filtered for the 3. Okay, so if we go back to the evidence, so we're showing the method completely, what we used. Okay, so what we have here is we've done a count to count the times each person has contributed towards each charity. So the first one would have given us 1, this was 2, and as you can see, Victor contributed to each charity, so the number in this cell would have been 3. So then we apply the filter to that particular column, okay, to find those people who contributed to 3 charities. So the next thing we need to do is extract, so to all 3 charities with a total more than 20,000. So let's just finish off now. So I can hide this, we don't need to show this column. So grand total, let me just increase the size. So if we click here, number filters, let me just see the question again. Total of more than 20,000. So if I click here, number filters greater than 20,000. Okay, so to show the evidence of the method, so let me just do the last print screen. So greater than 20,000. So let me just select like this print screen. If I go to Word, and again we want to be very obvious in our print screens, so I can crop this from the left as well. We can see the grand total has been filtered, so it's greater than 20,000. So the next print screen I'll do, so if I go back to here, is I'll just do a quick print screen here showing these 4 people. So basically each person has contributed to each charity and with a grand total of more than 20,000, as you can see here. So if I go back to the question, so yep, I've shown my method. I'm also going to print this off as well, so I'm going to go to File and Print. You know, so this will be printed, the name will also be included at the bottom. Okay. Evidence 8. Save your pivot table extract as option 3. So again, we're going to save, File, Save as, option 3. Save. And since it's asking for the evidence Okay, I'm going to go to my folder and I'm going to print screen the folder showing the 3 different files, 1, 2 and 3. So same question but evidence 8, so we'll just click crop. This is to show I've saved the files as I've gone along. Okay, so you can see Microsoft. What I'll do, just to be perfect, you want to show the file type in full. Okay, so let's do a print screen again. And we can crop. And just press save. Okay, so that's completed as well. Okay, we're now going to look at question 21. Evaluate the efficiency of your spreadsheet solution using no more than 150 words. So you'll notice there's 6 marks for this question. Okay, so basically we have to evaluate what we've done in Excel for this particular task. So I'm going to refer to the mark scheme and I'm going to identify first the most obvious things we can talk about regarding our Excel. So only one person can add data at a time. So that's the first point, and that's quite a straightforward point. So let me see which evidence. So it's evidence 9. So only one person can edit the sheet at one time. So it's really a disadvantage. If I go to and paste, okay. Just going to increase the size. The second thing we can mention, we have a pivot table, but the other option was to use a cross tab in Access, which is more flexible. So the functions of the pivot and the cross tab is similar, but the cross tab is more flexible. So it's the next thing I want to talk about. So obviously you'd write in short sentences. Okay, solution uses multiple spreadsheets to remove duplicate data, so which is more efficient than a single sheet. So we have data across sheets to remove duplicate data. Just going to make this a little bit smaller actually. There we go. And let's just make it all the same font and style. Okay, so let's get 2 more points from here then. Okay, named ranges would offer a more efficient solution. So at the moment, we have to absolute cell reference, especially when you're using a lookup function. So we can create named ranges instead. So there'd be no need to absolute cell reference. And the last point we can mention is staff are likely to be more familiar with spreadsheet software than maybe perhaps database. So let's put the last 2 comments. Okay. Right. Okay, so identify another application that may be used for these tasks. Okay, so we talked about Microsoft Access, so that could be potentially be another alternative software, and describe the efficiency of its features using no more than 150 words. Okay, so it's 5 marks for this question. So let's refer back to the mark scheme just to save ourselves some time. So instead of using multiple sheets, we can have a database which includes relationships, so we have multiple tables. So let me copy this as the first point. I'm just going to copy the whole thing actually. So this is evidence 10. Okay, let me just get the same format in. Easier if I just copy and paste this one actually. Size 11. It looks different to me, but anyway, let's copy and paste this answer again. So let's look at it. So we can use a relationship database. Multiple users can edit data. Okay, more staff expertise required to use a database than a spreadsheet. So we talked about staff would be maybe more familiar with using Excel rather than a database. Normalization of data can be applied to a database solution. Databases uses cross-tab query rather than pivot table in a spreadsheet. So the functions of a cross-tab and a pivot is very similar. However, the cross-tab is more flexible. So the first thing I'm going to copy and paste is the relationship database. Okay, so I'll paste that in. So multiple users can edit the data. I'm going to skip this one here. So we're going to go for the most obvious answers. So obviously staff may be more familiar using Access or spreadsheet software rather than Access. Normalization of data can be better applied to a database solution. Okay. And databases uses a cross-tab rather than a pivot in a spreadsheet. So as mentioned before, both offer the same function, very similar. Cross-tab, you could say it's probably more flexible. Okay, let me just make this smaller actually. There we go. Let's select the same font. Right, let's move on to the next part of the task. So place the evidence, answering the evidence. Okay, question 23. Create the most appropriate graph or chart to compare the percentage. Now, because we're going to compare the percentage, I think the best graph to use or chart to use would be a pie chart. So basically, for each charity from the event, so we have to compare the percentage income. So let's go to our Excel. Let's clear the filter. Let me just unhide the count. And let's clear the filter. So I can hide this. I don't need to show this again. So at the bottom, what we have is the total income from each charity. So what we need to do, so ensure your chart is suitable for inclusion in a black and white publication. Okay, so we need to make sure we don't use colors. So what we need to do is we need to copy the information to a table which can be used to create a graph. So if we go back to Excel, I'm going to copy the names of the charities first. So copy, paste the charity name here, copy, paste, copy. Let me just scroll across one more time. So copy and paste. So we've got the names of the charities. Now what I need to do before I make my pie chart is I need to, let's see if I can copy all these together. So copy, and we'll just paste it as values. Okay, so now we have some data we can use to make a pie chart. So if I highlight the table, and if you click on Insert Pie, and select the pie chart, you'll see we've got a pie chart. Let's just change it to black and white. And we've got the legend here as well. So if we go back to my question, ensure your data is suitable, okay, for inclusion in black and white. So now that's been sorted, it's in black and white. We have to compare the percentage income for each charity. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some labels to the pie chart. So I'm just going to click the pie chart, right click, select the data. No, it's not select data. Let's click on it again. Add data labels. That's what we need to do. So if we right click on the pie chart, we got the figures, but what we want to show instead is the percentage. So now right click, you'll notice these labels have been highlighted. Format data labels. And we don't want to show the value, we want to show the percentage. And if you want to show the category name as well, it may be worthwhile. So you can see the name of the charity plus the percentage. Okay, always makes sense to include a title. So we're going to click on layout, chart title above the chart. So let's look at the question again. So percentage income for each charity. That's a suitable title. So we can include that. And let me just, okay. So we've completed that pie chart. So let's place it into the evidence document now. Okay. So just before I do so, if we go back to Excel. So this is basically showing the percentage income. So these were the totals for each charity, so I copied it from the bottom. Okay. And obviously the pie chart now shows a percentage. So as we can see, Turtle Week has the highest percentage income, 41%, and as you can see here, it's the highest number as well compared to these two numbers. Okay, so let me copy and paste this into my evidence document. So which evidence? Let me refer again, evidence 11. Okay. Evidence 11. And we can paste in the pie chart. It's not fitting on that page, so let me just move that evidence to the next page. And what we can do, we can make the pie chart as big as possible so it's very obvious and it's easy to understand. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, this is the last question, so question 24. So a worker for one of the charities states people attending events usually donate to one or two charities but not three. So create the most appropriate graph or chart to prove or disprove the statement. So basically what this person is saying is most people who attend the event will only donate to either one or two. So not many will donate to three charities. So let's see what we can do. So if we go back to Excel. Okay, I'm just going to unhide that column again, the count. So we need to use these numbers now. Okay, so it's going to create another table, one donation, 2 and 3. So we need to work out actually how many people are donating to, is it, or the percentage of people basically donating to each charity. Okay, so 3, I got it in there in the end. So I'm going to use a COUNTIF function. So like I said, there was different methods of doing this, but for myself, the most obvious and easy method is just use a COUNTIF. So we want to look in this range. I don't need to lock it, so comma, criteria is 1. So it's going to basically count the number of times 1 appears. Okay, so let's do the COUNTIF again. So the range is here, so we want to find out how many times a person donated to 2 charities. So comma, criteria 2, close the bracket. And now we want to find out how many times people donated to all 3 charities. So again, let's highlight the range, comma, and the criteria is 3. Okay, so if I go back to my question, so people attending events usually donate to 1 or 2 charities, but not 3. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do one more thing. Okay, so I'm going to make another table. So 3 donations. Okay. 1 or 2 donations. Okay, should really have the S at the end. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger. So basically, in this box here, in this cell here, what we're going to do is 1 or 2 donations. I'm just going to add these two together. So I'll do an equal sum actually, it would be easier. Equal sum. Okay, so as you can see, it seems the statement is true. People attending events usually donate to 1 or 2 charities, but not all 3. So as you can see here, 1 or 2 donations, you got 28. 3 donations, you got 11. So there's an obvious difference between that. So let's see what we have to do. So create the most appropriate graph or chart to disprove this statement. So people attending events usually donate to 1 or 2 charities, but not all 3. So again, I'm going to highlight the data. I'm going to create a pie chart. Okay. I'm going to right click on the chart, add data label. Okay, so format data labels. So what we want to do is to include the percentage. Okay. I'm just going to Control Z. I feel like I've made a mistake there somewhere. So I've got my data. Let's select the whole pie chart. So I don't think I selected the whole pie chart before. So the whole pie chart selected now. So select data. Oops, sorry. Try that again. Add data labels. Here we go. So we've got 11 and 28. So I'm going to click on them. I'm going to format the data labels to include the percentage and the category name. So as you can see, we've got the percentage down here. So majority of people will only donate to only 1 or 2 charities. So 72% will only donate. That's 2/3 nearly. Okay, so what do we need to do with this pie chart? So place a copy of this graph or chart into your evidence document. So let me just put a quick title, and then we've almost finished. So layout. Okay, percentage of donations. Okay, so this is for evidence 12. Okay, and let me copy and paste this pie chart. Click it and copy and paste. You can increase the size if you want. Okay, and I'm going to save my document. So this is all the evidence for the Excel. So remember, if you're doing any formulas, it may be worth just printing them off. So remember, we completed formulas, so print them off, you know, just for your evidence to say you've completed the formulas and you replicated the formulas. It did say at the start, so it doesn't really say anywhere to print the formulas, but if you read the first sentence or of the second paragraph, all documents must fit in a single portrait page wider when printed. So it's not telling you to print, but common sense, if you want your marks, print off all of your formulas and the values. Okay, and also place into evidence documents, you know, just to confirm you've included the correct formulas. So this is evidence 5. Okay, this is the next evidence, question 20. So I'm showing a method. using a count. Okay, and then I've used a filter to count all those people who have basically submitted or donated to all 3 charities, so using a filter. Also, we wanted to find out those people who donated more than 20,000. So again, I've got evidence here of a filter. These are the 4 people who donated to all 3 charities, and a grand total was more than 20,000. This is evidence of my files that I've been saving. These are the 2 questions which I answered. Okay, and then these are the 2 pie charts. So the income for each charity and the percentage of donations. So as you can see, majority of people are donating to either 1 or 2 charities only, not 3. There's only maybe a small percentage, a third, who will donate to all 3 charities. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I will be making more videos for the AS course. Please subscribe below, and thank you for your time.